Folks, one of the greatest philosophers by the name Aristotle once opined that we can't learn of something new without pain. Folks, welcome to the Spot On. It's my hope that you are doing well from your end. Now, today, I want us to look at the behind the scene intrigues that led to the downscaling of Uhuru Kenyatta's security detail. So, folks, for the past 2 days or so, we've been treated to some political drama by the elite class, and specifically, we've experienced some political war between Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and the current president William Samoei Ruto. And folks, allow me to call this Uhuruto Season 2. Now, the only difference that we have from Season 1 and Uhuruto Season 2 is that in Season 1, Uhuru was the president and Ruto was the deputy president. But because tables do turn, in Season 2, Ruto is now the head of state and the head of government, whereas Uhuru is now a retired, head of state. So, folks, this particular, fight has actually led to the downscaling of Uhuru Kenyatta's security details. And maybe the question that you are asking yourself is that, could this particular move be politically instigated or not? Folks, before I answer that particular question, if this is your first time on this particular channel, folks, I request you just to take 2 seconds of your time and subscribe to this particular channel. Like this video, because if you like the video is going to reach out to as many people as possible. Go ahead and turn on your notification bell so that the next time we post another video, YouTube will automatically notify you. And those who have subscribed to the channel, once again, thank you so much for your continued support. Now, folks, I think that this particular move, or in response to that particular question of whether Ruto's move are politically instigated or not, folks, honestly, this particular move is politically instigated. Folks, the reason as to why I'm saying that this particular move is politically instigated is because of the following fact. Folks, if you can remember pretty well, this particular, hula baloos started when Azimio first held its rally. I think it was at Kamkunji grounds. And, immediately the president accused, members of the fourth administration, actually its top leadership, that they were financing the movements or those particular rallies of Azimio coalition. So I think the president started to crack the whip, because it was like, if these people, if it's true, because I believe that he has got the intelligence, they needed intelligence. So the president was like, you know what, we have to crack the whip, because I'm so sure that he was informed. So he believed that the person who maybe is behind all this is the former president or his predecessor. So he said that, you know what, we have to do everything possible to crack the whip. So the first thing is to bring up the issue of taxation, then to downscale his his security detail or security personnel. So can you ask yourself, why is it that before the president made those accusations, why is it that Uhuru's security details were never downscaled or were never reduced? You need to ask yourself that, because all of this particular problem started just the other day. The executive came up with the allegation, and then they started building on top of that. And actually, we have seen to some extent some results. That's what we are discussing today. The reduction or the downscaling of Uhuru's security details. Because if it was just in good faith, maybe This thing could even maybe could have started immediately. Ruto took over. But why did it that? Why did it just come at this particular time when there were Azimio, rallies all over, or maybe when they're planning Azimio rallies all over the country? Why is it that when there was maybe the issue of taxation, So that's why I'm saying that this particular move is politically instigated. Another question that you need to ask yourself: why is it that Ruto is not fighting, or is not so much into the neck of the Kibaki's family? Because you remember that Kibaki was also once a head of state. Why is it that Ruto is not on his neck? Why is it that Ruto is only on the neck of the Kenyattas and the Mois? All this is about politics, and you can agree with me that holding power, when you wield that particular power, it comes with its own advantages and its own disadvantages. The disadvantages are clear or are louder when one retires from office, and I think that's what the Kenyattas are currently experiencing, because look at this. If the kind of treatment that the Kenyattas maybe are being given right now and the Mois, if the same treatment could have been applied to the Kibakis, we can say that maybe the government has got its own, modus operandi, because that each and every administration, whenever they come into office, they come with their own style of operation. So maybe the government, you can say maybe the government has its own modus operandi. But now what we are seeing here is that the Kenyattas and the Mois are mostly the target. Why not the Kibakis? The reason is very simple. Gideon Moi, Uhuru Kenyatta, this duo were in Azimio, and I still believe that they're in Azimio. And Ruto, I think, just wants to deal with them from that particular line, that they didn't support him politically, and being that they opposed his candidature, so maybe it comes at a cost, or it has its own consequences, and that's what we are seeing right now. Folks, the former head of state, you know, the constitution allows or stipulates that they must be secure. They need security, because the reason as to why they are being secured is this: they are still state projects, you know, and in the event that something happens to them, it's like something happening to a state. And that's why, by all costs, they have to be, they must provide security to them until the day that maybe they'll go and be with the Lord, you know. So currently, Uhuru deserves that. And by the way, before Moi died, before Kibaki died, they had their security, and we never heard of any hulabaloo, between a succeeding regime and an outgoing regime. For example, we didn't hear of any fracas between the Kibaki regime and the Moi-led regime. The same applied, and by the way, that didn't happen. Being that didn't happen, it doesn't mean that the Moi and Kibaki didn't have issues or didn't have political differences. They had. And why is it that we didn't hear of that after Moi had retired? The same way, Uhuru and Kibaki. Uhuru was actually frustrated, I think, by Kibaki's men, but he never revenged. Folks, our constitution is highly borrowed, from that of the United States and that of, I think, South Africa. Yes. And I've never seen, or I've never heard of, a former president, because, exercising, supporting a candidate, that's your political right, and you can exercise it anywhere, provided that you're in the country. The person that you support, whether he wins or not, that should not be pegged, or it should not be treated pegged on that by maybe if the person that you are not supporting takes the that particular seat. In the United States, if you can remember, I think it was in 2020 when they went for election. Barack Hussein Obama was the 44th president of the United States. And you remember clearly when Obama decided to support Joe Biden. And remember who was the president by then? Donald Trump. Obama took charge of Joe Biden's campaign schedule, or the campaign team, because he was more experienced when it comes to campaign, and that's why he managed to run a successful campaign. I think for the first time in 2008, when he was first running for the highest office in that particular land. So the thing is this, folks. If Obama, that is the United States, and we say that that's the mirror of democracy. If Obama was able to campaign against Trump, that he did successfully, and there were no repercussions. I've never heard of Trump, withdrawing Obama's security because he was not supporting him. So that's why I'm saying that whatever we are seeing in this country, it's a bad precedence that we are setting, and power today will have power tomorrow. You leave office. Actually, what has happened to Uhuru Kenyatta, and I believe that you need that particular respect and maybe be treated with dignity. So the way our predecessors, the way they have been doing it, what maybe is happening, it's not something that it is good for this country. Folks, this precedence might be new in the country, but it's not new in the in the African continent, and I think that's where William Ruto maybe is having a copy from, or is copying what's happening in other parts of Africa, or in other countries in Africa. For example, when you look at a country like Botswana, I think it's Botswana, yes. When you look at a country like Botswana, there has been a protracted conflict between former president Ian Ham, and his successor, Mogwetsi Masisi. Folks, this particular conflict, between the current regime, that is the one led by Mogwetsi Masisi, and that of Ian Ham, it has been so bad to an extent that Ian Ham had to run to South Africa, in fear that he might be killed by his successor. Folks, as I will say that all this, in the long run, will lead to ethnic balkanization and ethnic animosity, because by the nature of our politics, these political leaders, they have their supporters. And because of the nature of our politics, if things are not controlled, then ethnic balkanization is something that we cannot, remove away from the equation. It's something that is likely to happen. Maybe if you ask me, maybe I can make a prediction and say that maybe in a few months' time, the president can maybe even decide to revoke the appointment of Uhuru as the peace chairman. Those particular countries that it was facilitating, insofar as peace is concerned. Remember, he was in DRC, he was in he went to Ethiopia, in the Tigray region. Those particular assignments. I believe that, let us not be shocked when maybe Ruto might maybe decide to revoke his appointment. Maybe his letter is already in his office, is just waiting for the right time to append his signature, so that at least that appointment can be revoked. I don't know what you think. You can tell me that on the comment section. But once again, thank you so much for watching. If it's your first time, kindly subscribe, and if you love this video, give it a thumbs up.